Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this painting tutorial. This is a lady on a swing. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Okay everybody, so today we're going to start this painting with titanium white, aqua green turquoise, and phthalo blue. I'm working on an 18 by 20 primed canvas, and I'm going to begin this painting with a large Filbert brush. This is a number 50. I'm making sure my brush is just a little bit wet before I begin this. And I'm going to take a little bit of phthalo blue. We're going to start lining the brush up on the top, pull across. We're going to add the phthalo blue on the top and then along the bottom. So I'll just take a little bit more here. We're going to work our way up, letting that paint work itself out and just start to gradiate from dark to light. The next color, without washing my brush off, I'm going to take some white. And we're going to help this gradation and make this look a little bit softer as we do it. So I'm just going to begin right down here, and I'm not going to blend too much down here on the bottom because this is where we're going to have some soft, gentle ripples in the water, and I'll be adding a little bit of turquoise to that as well. And I'm just going to bring this up a little bit higher here. And just pull across, and this will be our horizon line. And before this dries, as we know acrylic dries pretty quickly, we want to start with that light blue, the white and blue again. Just below where we added the first layer of the blue. So it's still darkest on the top. Then I'm going to take some more white. And each time I'm overlapping where I just left off, slightly working my way up a little bit and then back down. Take a little bit more white, and I've still got a little bit of blue in there. And what the light gray background does that I like is just sort of neutralizes all the other colors. It's a nice balance. It's soft and earthy, and I find it quite complementary to any color that I use. I kind of go back and forth with a black underpainting or black primed canvas, white, and lately it's just been either black or this light gray. So I'm going to keep adding a little bit until I reach the horizon. And as I do this, I'm adding a little bit of water to my brush. This is going to help thin that paint out and make it look softer, but it also will help me to spread that paint a lot easier without having to use a medium. I like the control I have with the water because it will dry, unlike mediums, slow drying mediums. They can take hours to dry. And that can be quite frustrating when you're trying to build up on a painting and you can't because you have to wait until that's all dry. Without washing my brush off, I'm going to go into this turquoise, kind of wiggle, get my bristles back together. Wiggle and then sort of push and fan out. Get a little ridge of paint there on the end of my brush to work with. And I'm just going to start adding little wisps back and forth. This is just to complement what we've already got here. We don't want to lose that blue. We just want to add to it. Even a little bit of that light gray underneath is a nice balance. Okay, so I've got a few other colors here that I've loaded up on my palette. I've got some neon pink and neon orange. This is for making the skin tone, and also her dress. I'm going to be toning that quite a bit, softening that with a white. And I'm also going to be using a little bit of black to help create some shadows, black with a little bit of that turquoise green. I'll show you guys how to mix up some skin tones using these colors. There's so many infinite color recipes for creating skin tones, but this is just one today, or some of them today. I've got some cadmium yellow light hue as well that I'm going to be mixing to make a green gold. Now I've got a Filbert brush. This one is a number 12. I'm going to get it a little bit wet, and I mentioned I wanted to start painting some clouds, so we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of white. I always like to tint my clouds, my white, and I want to just, oh, see it, just a little bit of that is all you need, and it will dry a little bit darker. So just a little bit of neon orange with white, and we'll get a really pretty soft peachy color that'll add some warmth and sunlight. Change the temperature because it's pretty cool looking right now, and this will just pop and look really soft and nice and warm. Okay, so I want a few different shapes and sizes for my clouds. I'm gonna hold my brush like this, so not straight up and down. I'm gonna push, tap, and then kind of just softly blend, smush that paint around and out. And then just make them look a little bit flowy. I take a little bit of water on my brush and work out some of that paint. Just make sure my brush is a little bit wet. I can soften underneath here and give it that really transparent, wispy look just by wiggling and then letting off on the tip of my brush to kind of travel around with those little loose ends that clouds start to take on. Load my brush up again and get ready for the next step. I'm going to come inside and add a second layer to make some of the areas of the cloud stand out a little bit more. And I'll start moving on. Start adding some more clouds. Now I don't want to think too much or plan ahead where I'm going to put my clouds. That's the worst way to create natural looking skies. It's best to do it without thinking too much and just go for it. Stay away from creating patterns. What I see most often with my students over the years is trying to make a pattern and put everything symmetrical, and it's just natural for our minds to think that way and place clouds that way, but you got to just look up at the sky if you're ever not really sure, and you'll see that it doesn't, I mean, sometimes there's the exception. We get those really interesting looking skies where it does look like a pattern, but we're not after that. We're after more of a natural, random looking sky effect here. And I think this is pretty, I'm not going to do too many clouds. but I'd like to show you guys a few so that you can watch and learn, and by watching me paint them again and again, repetition is the best way. So if you're not comfortable with painting clouds, just paint them over and over and over, different ways, using different brushes, more paint in some areas and then less in others. And you'll learn a lot just by doing that. It's all about experimenting. I'm just going to work out a little bit of this paint. I added a bit of water so you can see how transparent that is. And I'm just going to start lightly going over here, back and forth, making some hazy looking clouds back here that just spread across, and slightly over top of these ones. Gives it a little bit more perspective. And then I'll go down, add a little bit more of that peachy white color, and I'm just going to go right above the horizon here. Oh, I need a little bit of water on my brush. Coming from the other side, just line it up and pull. And there's one more color that I want to add to the water that's for some really nice complementary colors, and this is the light blue violet. And because it's in the purple violet family, it's going to look really pretty with the turquoise. So I'm going to add a little bit of it here and there, a few little lines. They can be longer or shorter, of course. And we're going to start the swing from up top, and if there's a little bit of an angle to it, so it'll come down and then kind of go out where she's leaning more into one side. And I'm gonna take a combination here. I'll take a little bit of blue violet, a little bit of black, a little bit of orange. Okay, and even a little bit of that white in there. 1 inch to 2 inches. I would say maybe 2 inches would be probably safer. First, we'll just do the swing itself that she would sit on. So we'll just make that obviously the same width. Now I'm going to take some white, just cut into that white. I'm going to add a little bit of, tint it with a little bit of that orange. And then go back into my dark with a little bit of white in there. Doesn't matter. We're going to add maybe some more highlights and shadows in different areas of the rope for the swing. So okay, so it's gonna slope down here like this. Line it up, line or load the edge of the brush. Come in with a little bit more white right in here. Take a little bit more white. So this time there's 2 right here. And we'll set those back there by doing another line over top. And we can see the second one in here, but I'll just add that for now, but we are going to be going over top with her dress, and then we'll come back and add it at the end. But just in case you guys aren't understanding what's going on here, there will be another one. Take a little bit more of my dark colors. I'm not washing my brush off. And I'll add just a little bit of shadow in here. And then a little bit more black. And these are going to have some flowers on them, so don't worry too much about them looking too thick or wobbly or anything. We can really camouflage that by adding our flowers. Now right in here is where we're going to have her figure. Her hips over to this side, and then we've got this really pretty, graceful, flowy dress, and even coming down in here into the water a little bit, or just below the swing, not touching the water. I want to give this swing, the bottom of the swing, the seat, a little bit more depth. So a little bit of black, and we'll just go right underneath it. Where we want to add a little bit of shadow, that's when we'll take a little bit of black. And it's dry enough here, I can now steady my hand a little bit better by placing my pinky on the canvas. And then with a clean brush, I can start to scumble and sweep off a little bit up here, kind of just making this disappear off into the sky. Okay, now that the paint is starting to dry and set in, I want to have a clean brush, more white on the tip, and steady my pinky again. I'm going to use a round brush, a number 2 round, and I'll start by taking a little bit of yellow, a little bit of black, and we'll get a really pretty deep olive green or green gold color. If you get a little bit of turquoise in there like I did, that's fine too. So we'll start kind of pushing and tapping lightly. You could even have it wrapping around. I'll load my brush up again, make sure I have enough here on the tip. And her dress is going to be over here, so I don't really want to do too much until after. If we decide, or if I decide I want to add more, I can do that later on once her dress is done. But I'm just going to take a little bit more of this cadmium yellow and now begin to add some highlights. Keep in mind, this is all going to dry a little bit darker, so don't freak out if you think that you've added too much or it looks too bright or too intense. And then I just kind of dot and let it kind of just disappear up in the top there. I'll come in and add a little bit. So I'm just taking a little bit of white with that yellow. And I haven't washed my brush out. You can see I've still got a little bit of that black, green, gold, olive mixture in there. This way, when I'm pushing, I'm getting all those colors coming out. And it gives it more of a natural look, I find. Okay, so I've got pink here. May as well use some pink. A little bit of white with that. Just a little bit more. I don't want to overblend because I want to get a natural combination of light and dark pink. And again, I don't want to create too much of a pattern, so I don't want to try and have it equal on both sides. So maybe I'll just sort of skip an area. And then I'll take a little bit of white. Now, this is far away. We can't see all the details. We don't really even know what flowers they are. We just know that they're flowers, and that's all we need. Mine would be, of course, roses, because those are my favorite flowers. Okay, so now we can start coming in with our figure. I think I'm going to switch back over to my Filbert brush here that I used before. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow, white, and pink. Got a little bit more white in there. Okay, and I'll start how it comes. The shape is very swirly. So it comes right over here. She's in front, her hip here and dress comes in the front of the rope. That's why I didn't bother doing that part. I'm going to take a little bit of white, very lightly go over that, and that comes down here. And I'm going to mess up the front part of the swing, but that's okay. Take a little bit more of that pink there. Now if I'm picking up any bit of black in here, that's fine, because I need some little shadows in there anyways. And then the dress, we've got some dress in the background. So we're going to see the top of the swing here, but in the front, it's going to cover it up. Now I'm going to add a little bit of the light blue violet here, along with my pink. And I'm just going to start pulling some lines in. Let me just pick up a little bit more of that blue and add a little bit more depth. Now I'm going to go right over the rope here, the swing, because I'm going to just cover it back up. I'll go back over it after. But remember I said I would be doing that. I just wanted to add that there so that you guys wouldn't get confused and feel like something was missing. I'm going to take some white, a little bit of pink, blue, whatever's left in my brush. And just start wiggling out. So we've got nice flowy feeling to her dress already, just by adding a few colors here. Pick up a little bit of white. And then we'll start adding a few more layers. This is going to come out a little bit bigger right in here. That pink blue mixture with a bit of white. You could make her dress as ruffly as you want as well, like adding more lines. Go right into that blue. And we'll use that for our shadow color because it's so pretty. If I need to later on, I might add a little bit of black in there, or gray, like a darker gray. Now I'm going to keep this color in my brush, add a little bit more pink, and I'm going to create a skin tone. So a little bit of black, blue, pink, yellow, and I've got a little bit of white in there. Her leg is here, and it's on a slant, so right here, her knee and shin, and then the rest is covered up. I'm going to take my bright peachy highlight color here. And just add a little bit at the top. I'm going to go back over to my little round brush right here, and I'm going to take some white. And go inside and brighten this up. For the top of her leg. And then just kind of soften that and make it disappear. Just so I can make some more shadows for the skin tone. So black, orange, peachy pink color. You could add a little bit of blue in there. If it's looking too warm, then just add a bit of cool blue like this to it. On the outside of her leg, just add a little shadow there, sort of outline. And then the front of her leg. And then just where her dress is, to separate that. Take some more of the pink, black, and blue and start coming in with a few little folds here in her dress. Take more blue. Now, pink, white, and orange. We're going to go in between those lines. Use a little bit more white. Just going to start them right here, and then get some white on my brush and cut in over top. So we've got our waist right there. And just to make sure we've got some separation, I'll pick up a little bit of black and the other colors. We'll just do a line right there. A little diagonal. Her elbow. And then her hand. Then we're not going to have to worry too much about, because see, we can camouflage those things with the flowers. So I'm going to take, without washing my brush off, work out those colors, more white. And now I can come in here. Do the highlight on her skin. Really load my brush up, push, so I work out a little bit of that pinky color. And the back of the dress. It's a really pretty sheer material. And we've got a little bit of it on that side. The rope does come here right in front, so I'm going to take a little bit of black. Have that right there. I'll add maybe a little bit of flowers in there later if I need to. And a little bit of blue. I'm going to line my brush up like this. Pull, wiggle, pull, just for some folds and creases in the top. Get my skin color ready here. Should be darker in here than her dress. Make her arm a little bit thicker here. Add some more shadow. Accidentally took a little bit of that off. And pick up some of my light peachy pink. Add another highlight. See, as it sets in and dries, you might have to go back and add some more So I'm just going to add a little bit of indication of the rope there. And obviously her hand is grasping there. Just going to soften her leg a little bit like that. And I want to cut in here because I think I made that look a little bit too wide. So I'm just going to make a light gray, bluish gray to match the background. So a little bit of white and black, a little bit of that blue. Whoops. Let's see if this does the trick. I know that it's going to dry darker, so I have to keep that in mind. I'm going to go into my white and have the other part of her dress, a little bit of pink, whatever colors you want to use. As you can see here, I've got lots, right? Lots of pretty pastels going on. And we'll go into her shadow on the other arm here. So it comes down here. Then up. And we'll highlight. Just do a few little dabs in there. And it's slightly soft and rounded right in here. Okay, now we can come in with her hair. I've got black here and a little bit of pink, but you can make the hair any color you want. First, I'm just going to come right down here and finish this part of her dress. It's kind of bugging me. Just need a little bit darker. Just got a little ruffle or something right there. And then maybe her hair's in a bun or just some sort of an updo. And we can put a pretty, it's a lot of paint. I'm going to use this for some other things. Flower in her hair right here. A little bit of black I've got in my brush is really helpful for getting some shadows in that flower and giving it some depth. Some more shadow with my angle brush and just my dark colors. A little bit of black, blue, and red. And I'll take a little bit of white with peachy pink. I'm going to come around. Oh, I'm going to need some more white there. Their dress. And then right behind here, we've got the rest of her dress in the back. So I don't want to forget that. Get a little bit of water on my brush. A little bit more white. And this will give me some folds and highlights. I'm still going to see those folds in there, those lines, but they're just a little bit dark for my liking. So once that dries, I'll still be able to see them. So by adding a little bit more white here and there, you're going to get more of a 3D layered effect in her dress. Now I want to come over top with our swing rope. I'm just gonna, I'll take a few different colors here, black, red, and pink. There, so this helps to set those parts of the dress back there again. And I'll take a little bit of black. See how I kind of just slice into it? I cut in. It's a really great way to line up these types of brushes because it keeps the bristles together and in that shape that you want them to be in. I'm going to clean up this part of the swing. I'm going to use a different brush. That's a little bit too big. I'm just going to go right to my round, or yeah, little round brush. It's kind of like a liner brush too. Just adding a little bit more dabs of black here and there for shadows on her hands, her fingers. A little shadow there on her neck. I'm going to pick up a little bit of pink and yellow, a little bit of white in there. We can warm up her skin tone a little bit by doing this. I'm going to pull in a little bit of white. A little bit more white. Just to add some little bits of highlights here. We're not going to see too much on her face. I'm going to add a little bit more hair here. Rinse all that black out of my brush and get a little skin color and go right up here and add an ear. I'm going to take some white. Oops. I'll highlight the top of the swing. Just going to add a little bit of white here. And then a little bit of darker skin tone. And I'm going to finish this painting up by adding a little bit of blue and white, and that's the blue violet. So a few little touches here and there. Maybe she's got a few little flowers there. And then just soften this shadow up a little bit. Now I'll take some of that off, and it's going to dry darker than that. And then go over with a little bit of blue there. Maybe a little earring. It's kind of pretty. So I'm just finishing up this painting by adding a little bit more light and shadow. Little touches of the blue. That'll make her hair look a little bit shiny in there. I'm coming in now just with a little bit of off-white, so just tinting my white with any of the pastel colors to add a little dab again for her ear, softening her features. So I just brushed over a little bit with white and then made a peachy skin color with red, yellow, orange, and white. I'm going to soften her shoulder, her arms a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit more hair as well, so I'll go back into my black and just come right down the side of her face above her ear. I'm going to also add just a little bit more length right to her shoulder. And I'm going to continue along with the vines and the flowers down either side of the rope on the swing, and add a little bit, just a little bit here around the edge. I'm also going to add a little bit more of a shadow on the front of her dress from the rope on the side. That's just with that light blue violet. It's optional. At this point, the painting does look finished, but I'm just going to let you guys watch a few more details that I added, mainly to the bottom of the dress, a little bit more light and shadow, outlining some parts of them. But other than that, this painting is all done. So I want you guys to join the Facebook group and share your versions there. I love seeing all of your versions from my painting tutorials. If you enjoyed this one, I've got another one of a lady wearing a big puffy gown sitting on a swing. And I'll leave a link below in the description of the video, the bottom of the video for that as well. But I want to wish you guys happy painting, have a great day, and I'll see you all soon in my next video. Bye!